Hello, I just happened to blow out my cookie corner candle right as I hit the go live button. Happy Facebook Live Wednesday. I decided to use this colorful filter because we are dealing today with EQ, emotional intelligence, and as we know, emotions represent all the different colors, more colors than in the rainbow, right? Because we have so many positive emotions. We can be confident, we can be happy, we can be grateful, we can be optimistic. And then the other emotions can drive us to insanity, frustration, anger, disappointment, a lot of emotions that drive a parent crazy. So let's start off. I do have 2 candles, so my backup candle is still lit. Can you see that? So I'll take a deep breath, blow out after you inhale. See that smoke? So anyway, I want to spend a few seconds listening to today's song. Anyone familiar with this? For some reason, it's not playing. There it is. It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine is here. You can take a break. Hey, Colette. Thanks for watching. So today is a very, it's a topic that is dear to my heart because I truly believe that we as parents stress over the importance of our kids having a high IQ when statistics show that, you know what, IQ is 20%. 20% of your IQ factors whether you're going to have life success. Only 20%, which is why a lot of kids who might have poor grades, who might barely graduate from high school, drop out of high school or college, succeed in life. Why? Because they have a high emotional quotient. So when you factor in or you take the EQ test, and there's so many of them, I posted a couple of EQ test links on my Facebook page. And, you know, the average score is 75. If you have a high EQ, I mean, the tests might have some inclination of what your EQ is, but you know how some tests, you know what the right answer is, so you choose it, even though it might not be the way that you think. So this Facebook Live is all about why we need to focus on raising our children's emotional intelligence and not fret or worry about low grades. You know which parents I'm talking to. If your child is getting D's and F's, if your child has 57 missing assignments, if your child might fail second quarter, if your child might fail third quarter. I have a freshman in college who might be in that category. I am struggling with you guys, and which is why I am doing extra research on EQ. It's been my passion. Those of you who know me, I am so passionate about the brain, about how our minds work and what we can do to enhance our not only academic potential, but our emotional potential. You know why? Listen to what emotional intelligence can do for us. It predicts, having a high emotional intelligence predicts future success in life, right? It also helps you be more motivated academically and otherwise. You make healthier choices in life. You make good leaders. Good leaders have high EQ, which might explain why certain leaders might have a low EQ. But that's another story. So you have, a better chance of having healthier relationships, healthier physical, mental, and emotional health. So today's Facebook Live is all about what is EQ and how can we teach our kids. There are tools. In fact, I have an EQ ebook. And if you want it, email me and I will email you the book. It's really interesting how emotions, just understanding and dealing with emotions, can influence several areas. It influences, listen to this, learning. It influences your relationships. It influences your decision making, right? It influences memory. It influences, how and why you would even decide to do homework. Hint, hint for some people. It affects your physical and mental and emotional health. So do we guilt shame our kids to doing what we want? I've been guilty of that. I've given I think part of my DNA is manipulation. So I think that I'm motivating my girls when maybe there's a slight manipulation because I want them to be successful. I don't want them to fail out of college, or I certainly didn't want Chelsea to fail 9th grade. Every year, you guys, I was fearing that she might fail a grade or might fail a class. So I want to just spend time to go through the 5 areas of EQ. And if you find yourself, and I do, getting pissed off, getting frustrated, feeling like you are going to lose it, we might want to practice exercises increasing our EQ. Because supposedly when we have a high EQ, we don't let other people, like the children in our lives, we are giving our kids, listen to this, we are giving our kids the power to drive us insane. If their actions determine our peace, we are screwed, because whenever they make poor decisions, we're going to lose it. Whenever they have a missing assignment, we're going to lose it. And guess what? I hate to tell you this, but we have zero control over what our kids do, no matter how much we motivate them, no matter even how grateful they are. They might not show you that they appreciate what you do. They might appreciate it maybe after you're no longer living. But would it make a difference if your kids appreciate what you said but did not follow what you want them to do? I've been thinking about that. Are we only happy when our kids do exactly what we want them to do? Sometimes, yeah, because it just makes our lives easier, right? Okay, so ready? Number 1, self-awareness. Are you aware, and are your children aware of their strengths and of their weaknesses, and are they willing to get help to support them during their challenges? Or do they feel embarrassed, right? Some of us feel embarrassed. We feel like, you know what, we got this, I don't need any help. That means they might not have self-awareness. So I'm really happy that I created this mom support group, thanks to Terry, because I think when we feel alone and we feel like we have to do it all and we have to be the perfect parent and we have to have these perfect kids, or these kids who don't have missing assignments, then it's our fault, right? Lisa Nakasone, wow. IQ is book learn, EQ is life lessons in humility and empathy. Yes, a lot of us have a hard time practicing empathy because we forget what it's like being a 12-year-old kid. And if you're a female and you're a high achiever in school, you do not understand why your kid just doesn't do his assignments. Why let even one assignment go missing? Why do you have 18? Why do you have 57? I question why 0 work was done in my daughter's sophomore year in geometry. 3rd quarter, last week of school. What? 0 assignments were completed? Major deep breathing. Extra sessions with a therapist. Okay, so anyway, self-awareness, right? Strengths, your weaknesses. What do? Those of us who journal, which is why I'm a strong believer in journaling. If you don't want to write, record it now. Record it and find out what was your trigger. What pissed you off? Was it because someone didn't make you feel understood? Was it because your kid disappointed and frustrated you? Was it because you felt helpless or just out of control? Usually if you have zero control in getting your kids to do what you want them to do, take care, Eric. Thanks for watching. Then you're going to get pissed off. So what we should do? What I am trying to do, I'm not doing a very good job right now. You notice when I get passionate, my speech is quicker. So we have to slow down. We have to be aware of what triggers us and take a pause before we talk. So before you say, what are you thinking? Do you want to fail 9th grade? Do you know what you're doing? Are you even using your brain? Just pause, reflect, and ask yourself, would I want my mom to speak to me that way if I was 12? Would being spoken to in a condescending tone motivate me to do my work? Or will I feel ashamed, guilt, and just frustrated because I don't want to do the 58 missing assignments. I don't even want to do the current assignments. So being self-aware of what your kids are feeling and what we're feeling, and emotionally connecting with your child can change their lives and your level of peace. Number 2, self-regulation. What is self-regulation? If you are practicing verbal attacks, if you find yourself losing it and saying words that you might not regret, but might cause some self-esteem damage, then you are not successfully self-regulating. So what do? Blow out a lot of candles, deep breathe. I had a grandma yesterday who's a mother who said, you know what, in the middle of it, I just say, you know what, sorry, I got to take a shower right now. And she removed herself. Because if you go in your room, you might hear, Mom, Mom, but you're in the shower and you just tell them I need 10 minutes. Maybe you can make it into 20 minutes. We jokingly said you might need 7 mini showers a day, but you need to remove yourself from the state of, going insane. You know it. When you are feeling like you are going to engage in an emotional explosion. I call it, it's almost like you're a volcano and you are erupting. And once that lava spews, there's no telling what could happen, right? So, personal accountability. We want our kids to be accountable for their academics. We need to be accountable for what we say to our kids, what we text our kids, and just the way that we communicate. Are we guilt shaming them? Are we manipulating them? But our efforts, our intention is to motivate. But how are we motivating? Are we motivating according to their love language? Or are we motivating purely because we want them to do what we want them to do? Think about that for a second. 3rd, motivation. Oh, this is a hard one. I've been editing and re-editing my 100 parenting tips inspired by the pandemic. And lately, it's hard to be motivated, right? So if we have a hard time being motivated because we're frustrated, imagine your kids. Number 1, distance learning is not fun. Number 2, sitting in front of a computer and not being able to socialize isn't fun. And number 3, some of the lessons, guys, I've been doing or actually helping kids do homework. I have to sit there and watch the 6-minute video on how to do fractions. We know it. You cannot fast forward the video. So we have to watch this guy say, so today we're going to be learning how to half and maybe quarter fractions if you're going to make a smoothie. So for example, what if you have, and we just want to fast forward, whether it's a video on the scientific method, whether it's a video on fractions or climate versus temperature, it is not fun. And I'm thinking your kids have to watch these boring videos do homework that takes so much time. Half the time it's trying to submit it and it doesn't submit, technical issues, it's not fun. So being motivated, I can totally relate to how and why, right? These kids have a hard time being motivated. You know what works? Incentives. Not your incentives, but their incentives. Maybe it's playing 15 minutes of video games on a school night. Ask them. Ask them, what do they think it would take to be motivated? You might be surprised at what you hear. Empathy. Oh, this is a good one. During the presidential election, during Black Lives Matter, during the George Floyd, when you think about empathy, do we put ourselves in another person's shoes? Anyone put themselves in Trump's shoes lately? That's another conversation. But put yourself in your kid's shoes, right? Hey, Cool Hand Luke. Put yourself in your kid's shoes. If you're not a parent, put yourself in your spouse's shoes, in your coworker's shoes, in your friend's shoes. The people who just irritate the hell out of you. Put yourself in their shoes and ask yourself, how would you react if you were them and you said what you're saying? Does that make sense? Just change positions. So it's almost like Biden would pretend that he's Trump and Trump would pretend that he's Biden. So you are your child and your child is you. How would you react if you were told, you know what? Stop being lazy. Why aren't you doing your work? Wait a minute, you have so many assignments? Are you not using your brain? Do you not care about graduating? Because you will flunk. Hearing you will flunk might have your kids. I know Chelsea has said this to me. Well, I guess you don't believe me, and if you think I'm going to flunk, then I guess I'm going to flunk. And then you're at a loss of words. I was like, wait a minute. I've taught you perseverance. I've taught you faith. So I realize I didn't have empathy. That will change the game. And lastly, number 5, social skills. Social skills is not just being polite, but it's conflict resolution. When you think about it, as a parent, we experience conflict resolution or maybe not resolving conflicts a lot. Whenever you have an oppositional kid, whenever you have a kid rolling their eyes, whenever you have a kid who's not doing what you want them to do, you have a conflict on your hands, right? So how do you solve the conflict? Do you say words that will make them do what you want them to do? Or are you having an open conversation to really work together as a team? Or do you say, I'm the mom, I know better, so just make it easy on yourself and do what you're supposed to do? Otherwise, I will make your life pure hell. I've done that. I've taken the phone away for a month. I canceled cable. For 3 months and I missed, I don't know what interview it was. Everyone was talking about either Brad Pitt or not George Clooney. It was some really important interview and I missed it because I only had the basic channels because I canceled cable because I was trying to motivate my kids. And instead, I punished myself. So when you think about these consequences, I would invite you to ask yourself, are you administering consequences because you're pissed off and you're wanting them to just get their act together? Or are you putting yourself in their shoes, asking them, what do you need from me so that I can maybe support you in getting motivated? What's going on? What is what is hard? And then you empathize. Wow, that sounds like an assignment. Yeah, I don't think I would want to do that too. So when kids feel empathy from their mom and dad, brother, sister, aunt, or uncle, I've learned from experience, Chelsea, I swear I didn't think she was going to be promoted to 11th grade or 12th grade or graduate. And once I let go, it wasn't easy. I'm telling you, it was not easy. But when you communicate with compassion, you will experience less conflict. I know some of you are rolling your eyes going, you know what? I just want them to catch up on their fill in the blank. I just want them to log into distance learning and just do the assignment so they can just pass to the next grade. But keep in mind that high IQ only gets you so far in life. You have the high IQ, you get into the Ivy League schools, you get into private schools, you get your college degree, you get a job, and you know what happens if you don't have the EQ? You lose your job. Either you get pissed off at your boss, or you find your coworkers just irritating you, so then you lose it. You might have a little meltdown, which causes your boss to question whether they should have hired you in the first place. Think about that. Emotional intelligence. Yes. Way more important than grades. Way more important than missing assignments. I'm having a hard time believing it. I just want my daughter to just pass her first semester at LCC. As she's telling me, she's probably going to fail her driver's road tests that she's taking next week. And I'm thinking, you know, am I being self-aware? Am I self-regulating? Am I practicing empathy? Am I being motivated to be the best mom? And am I practicing the right positive social skills with your child? You might be doing great practicing social skills in your work environment or with your friends, but how are your social skills with your child? If I did an EQ assessment with your child and you together, I would love to do that. I invite you to schedule an EQ test with me, you, and your child. I think we should do that. We should have a Zoom EQ session. Hey, Kyle, thanks for popping in. Yes, we'll have candles. We'll have your kids expressing what bothers them about their parents, what bothers them about their life regarding academics, regarding social stuff, and really get down to why they're not doing their work. Is it, and you know what? Not only why they're not doing their work, but how. How can we motivate them without the threats, without the guilt, without even the right rewards? Because rewards are always good. But let's find out what intrinsic value, what will help your kids motivate themselves when you're not around anymore. Because you're not going to be around saying, hey, you know what? I'll treat you to an ice cream. I'll let you have 5 hours of video games. When they're an adult and you're no longer there, they will have to come up with their own self-motivation techniques, right? Who is motivating you right now? And how are you being motivated? There are many times, guys, 5 minutes before Facebook Live, I wonder if I should do this. As my, I'm watching this and I notice there's a lot of glitches, so I hope you get the main message. The main message is focus on raising your emotional intelligence. Don't harp on your kids regarding their IQ, because I'm going to repeat, 20% of your IQ is what gets you life success, life happiness, and health, mental, physical, and emotional health. So if you want to prevent strokes, heart attacks, diabetes, high blood pressure, guess what? It has nothing to do with your IQ. The lower your IQ, the more health issues you will have. So don't make your kids' journey yours. Don't feel like you have to get your child to do what they're supposed to do in order for you to have peace. Because once we give our peace power to our kids, oh my gosh, I'm learning that as soon as I let my mood be determined by whether my daughters do what they're supposed to do, whether it's pay a parking ticket, whether it's go to work on time, whether it's to finish assignments, study for an exam, right? If I make my peace determined by what they do, I'm going to go crazy. So if you guys are facing any sort of stress, guess what? You do have the power. It might not feel like it, but you do have the power to say, you know what? I'm not going to allow my child to dictate my peace, because you know what? You deserve to have peace. It's Thanksgiving tomorrow. Last day of academics for 4 consecutive days. So don't check their grades. Don't look at the missing assignments, and just enjoy life. Invest in about 1 to 3 candles and just focus on gratitude. If you have a healthy child, if you have someone who loves you, who might not show you that they love you, but you know that your child is safe, that your child and you know that you guys are being fed, you guys have a roof over your head. I know it's so simplistic, but I believe counting our blessings, especially during this global pandemic, this crazy presidential election aftermath, just focus on thankfulness. That's how I'll end this. Your EQ will increase when you focus on gratitude, practice empathy, practice just being aware of your emotions and asking yourself, why am I so upset? Do I have control to release it? Yes, you do. You have the power. We just have to use it. And I will remind you, I do have my quiz that I would love for you to share. Hey, Aurora. Thanks for watching. Oh my gosh, it's my second cousin in California. Thanks for popping in. I just really want to thank everyone for watching. I invite you to practice raising your EQ, not focus so much on IQ. And guys, our kids will not suffer from distance learning. I forgot to add, Channel 2 News, I'm sure nationally, they're saying that our kids will never, ever be able to catch up from all this distance learning crap, and they are destined not to be successful in life. But if you are their parent, you have the power to influence your child, and distance learning is not going to be the end all to determine whether they're going to succeed. It's like people who had crappy teachers. There are some good teachers, there are some not so good teachers, there are some, curriculum methods, Common Core. I mean, some people agree with it, some people don't. But you know what? Our kids just need to be loved unconditionally, accepted no matter what, and just show them that you are thankful that you are their parent, that you are their aunt, that you are their grandparent. And I overstayed my welcome, but thank you if you stayed the whole time, and I look forward to next week. And don't forget, I'm posting my mom moment. They are 45-second commercials or little segments that are on 95.5, The Fish radio locally. And I'll be doing my thing, helping all stressed moms, dads. If you're an aunt, if you have no kids, but you have stress because of maybe a niece or nephew, or maybe a grandchild, I'm here for you. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.